Welcome to Smart Stewards Money Podcast, financial conversations for millennials and adults. On this podcast, we'll be sharing practical tips and insight on personal finance for both millennials and adults. We'll be bringing in experts and guests from various fields to share their knowledge and experiences on personal and business finance. Of course, we'll be addressing common misconceptions and answering your burning questions about money management. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to make informed financial decisions about how to make, manage, multiply money, build wealth, and achieve your financial goals. My name is Shola Adeshaki, and I'm going to be your host on this journey. You're in for an amazing time with us. So sit back today, grab a cup of coffee, and let's dive into the world of personal finance together. Welcome to this edition of the Smart Stewards Money Podcast, where we have financial conversations for millennials and adults on money management. I'm excited today because I have two brilliant ladies with me in the studio. I have Olamide Akunji and I have Morenike Amosu. I am your host as usual, Shola Adeshaki, and I'm really excited about this conversation we are having today. Today we'll be talking about managing the high cost of living. Ladies and gentlemen, you would agree with me that all around the world, inflation has been beating hard. And I usually would joke that, in Nigeria, they will tell us, inflation is 21%, 22%. But literally, when you look at, the cost of goods and services, some of them have tripled, some 200%, some 300%. So I've got these ladies with me, and we want to quickly talk about how they have been managing their finances, managing the cost of living in a time like this. So ladies, how are you doing? Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
All right, Olamide, I'm going to start with you. You're single, you're savvy, you're brilliant, you're intelligent. You are a go-getter, right? Have you been managing the excessively high cost of living as a single lady?
Thank you very much for this question. So basically, how I manage the high cost of living is just try to cut costs by all means. For example, I work on the island and I stay on the mainland. I try to leave home as early as possible because I realize that very early in the morning, transport is less expensive than when the day is already breaking. So I try to leave home as early as 5 a.m. so I can be able to beat that high cost of transport. And also on getting to the office, I basically have to just make sure I don't follow the 3 square meals every day. I just try to just cut cost and make sure that at the office I don't spend more than this particular amount to eat. So, and also going out like to visit friends, places I know that instead of just taking boats that is very expensive, I'll just try to say no, I went that Danfo, I will jump this Danfo instead of just so those little expenses to just have a way of just doing all of those things save me from spending too much money on food and transportation. And also I had to just cut back on some enjoyment just because you have to just
you cannot come and kill yourself.
I cannot come and kill myself.
Guys, wait, let's do what Olamide has said. She has packed so many things into one. Olamide said she leaves her house very early. Of course, because she's single, she can just, leave her house at 4 a.m. if she wants, and then goes to work. Hey guys, that's a trick for somebody who is like, okay, so if I leave early, I probably would be able to get something cheaper. But when we talk about leaving early before the day breaks, are you not afraid about, getting into the wrong, God forbid anyway, maybe I shouldn't go there, but I'm just like,
go there.
You know what, how do you navigate public transportation? I get it, you don't want to take boat all the time. Sometimes you take boat, but for your everyday, how do you navigate it in a way that you're trying to save costs, but your welfare is also very, very important?
So I try as much as possible to be extra careful. One of the days I was going out to work, I entered one chance and I had a very terrible experience. And since then, I've been trying to be extra careful, and I realized that there are always signs that we should not just ignore, and when we pay attention to those signs, we will not be able to make mistakes. So I feel like as much as I'm trying to save costs too, I should make sure I shine my eye, because this is Lagos. Anything can
Shine
happen.
your eye.
Shine your eyes.
So-
All right, thank you. So you've talked about leaving home early so that you can catch the early whatever. And by the way, I know there are buses that do like Uber,
Yes.
right? I don't want to mention names, but I have a friend who is a founder of a company. They do Uber buses. Maybe you want to find out, just because this saving cost is important, because we have to also be careful to ensure that our well-being, our welfare is secure as well. Then you talked about food. As a young person, I would think that you would take food from home.
Yes, I do. But there are some times that whenever I get back from work, I'll be extremely tired, or I'll realize that I've woken up late, and before I can start cooking, I'll not be able to meet up with the time I usually leave home again. So I'll just realize that day, for waking up late, I'll
Consequences.
Guys, did
Yes.
you hear that? You know what? Delayed gratification and self-mastery. Like, I can relate. I mean, living or working in a place like Victoria Island or Ikoyi, where the kind of restaurants and all of those things there. So for the young people, I think you can be like Lamide. Pack food when you can. I pack my food from home every day whenever I go to work. But the days that you don't pack, you can't be earning 50,000 per month and you're buying 5,000 food per day. Do you see? Aha. So thank you for sharing. I'll be back with you, Olamide. Let's talk to Morenike and find out from her. Morenike is married, right?
Yes.
And she's got beautiful children. This cost of living inflation thing, how have you been able to navigate, or how are you navigating it on a daily basis?
Okay, thank you for having me, Essay. I believe everyone on the set can keep a secret, right? Okay, so between you and I have finally stopped fighting. So it meant that in the initial, as costs began to rise, I had family members, stakeholders who just weren't in on this thing. So there's this unspoken joke that says that when things have gone high in the market, it takes quite a while for the other gender to catch up. And I'll break it down. So if you were buying something for 18,000 naira and it has become, in the eye of the whoever, as in this person that you're doing life with, these your family members, they feel, 18 must have turned to 20 or 21k. Where? By the time we're noticing, we're probably at 51,000 of whatever it is 18k used to buy before. And so it was just are you guys not seeing? And I mean, from the children to the hobby to the black taxers, the people who live with one, it's just they can't get it. And so the reason why I said to you now that I've stopped fighting is I had to drag everybody along. And so from the children to from the go and be the one who buys, to the what does this cost? Because plenty times we exclude the children or some people from money conversations. But right now, we're all hands on deck.
All in.
Why should we blow that 20,000 naira for this afternoon when we can do this? And I mean, in everything. There's a hangout my daughter is begging me to go. I'm saying, you're costing an extra 15k per head. She says she doesn't even look like a child. I said, oh great, so maybe you go and ask your dad. Everybody is now in on the money conversations in the house, and I find it works. So there's lesser conflicts, because now I'm saying, there's the budget. We've always had the budget, but there are things that just crop up in the middle of the budget. Let's add it so that there won't be so there won't be that thing where you're thinking you're the one that's stretching. You're stretching. Let's add more fruits, because you see, if we have more fruits in it comes at the cost. Let's add it. So everybody's in on the conversation now. No hard feelings. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see, like they say, life is not balanced. To my left-hand side, I have a very young lady, upwardly mobile, who has just started her life. And I have to my right, a woman who, they're both amazing women anyway. But you see, it just shows you that life is in phases, right? And in seasons. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation so that you can hear from both sides. Now, something, runs like similar between the two of them. Whether you like it or not, young or old, you must spend money. Young or old, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you must borrow yourself sense. So Olamide is waking up and she's like, I woke up late today. I did not pack my food. I will not eat at work. Now she's allowing financial wisdom to direct her. So she's not saying because I am young, then I can spend my money anyhow. After all, I can talk to an aunt, I can talk to, an uncle. So you see, financial conversations, and that's why we do this as Smart Stewards. We address money conversations, especially for millennials and for adults, because we all have the same money problems at varying degrees. And then she says that they had a stakeholders meeting, so to say, guys, let us borrow ourselves sense. I'm married too, and I've got children. And more than ever before, we improvise these days. Like, let's go and watch a movie and watch, and eat popcorn. We can turn off the lights in the house for today.
Yeah.
Watch a nice movie, toss some popcorn, or buy popcorn. There are a lot of, there's a lot of product. There are lots of products, this off-the-shelf popcorn. So what are we saying in essence? Improvise. High cost of living, is something that is peculiar, not just to any part of the world, but to everywhere. The UK, there's inflation. The US, there's inflation. Nigeria, there's inflation. And spending money is sacrosanct. Whether you make money or not, you must spend money, and you must spend wisely. So, high cost of living must not become or must not remain the reason you are not saving or the reason you are not investing. You've got to borrow yourself some sense, as both of them have said. You must have a conversation sometimes with yourself or sometimes with the stakeholders. Final words, Olamide. What would you tell people of your generation? What would you tell people, young people, about finances, about this high cost of living, about, everything that is happening, about the fact that, people want to just get and spend and get and spend and get and spend. What word would you give to those listening who are young? What advice would you give them about their finances and what is happening around?
Thank you very much for this question, Coach. So I would just like to tell my generation this, that people have the notion that, I'm not earning so much now, so I don't want to save. But I'm here to tell you that if you don't learn how to save when you're earning little, even when you start earning more, you would definitely not still know how to save. So now that we are young, it's the time for us to cut back on unnecessary expenses, lifestyle inflation, buying things that you don't need just because you want to impress your friends. Like, now is just the time to just cut back on those spending, because as time goes on and as we keep growing older, there will be more responsibilities for us to shoulder. And if you don't learn how to cut back and save now, and time we keep growing to the point where there are more responsibilities, we might not be able to have anything to fall back on. So now that you are earning so little, it's time for you to just learn how to start managing your money. So by the time you start earning high, you will not have any problem managing it. So just cut back on unnecessary expenses. Try and be frugal. Be frugal. It's not compulsory you do what everybody is doing. Tell yourself the truth. You know where you're coming from. You know your background. You know how much you are earning. So just sit down and tell yourself the truth and cut back on unnecessary spending. That's my advice. Thank you,
Olamide. I'll come to you, Morenike. What advice would you give married women, mothers who feel that no, it is impossible to just save and invest, or talk about financial management? What would you tell them?
My people, 100K in the market now is moving mad like 30K, and we all know this, right? So what I think we should do practically is to first know somewhere behind in our mind that costs do not stop. If you truly are managing a household, you realize that it can get interesting, everything from your rent to this. The costs don't stop, so you have to get more innovative ways around the making of it. I said it, the making of the money. The managing of the resources. I know we'll get to the multiplying of the money, but it has become imperative. It's not a matter, you cannot leave your financial literacy you can't cede it to the outside world. You have to get in on this. So costs do not stop. You have to find more creative ways to keep managing the costs while still, trying to meet up with your obligations on the home front. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of today's podcast, today's show. We hope to see you next time. Until then, keep winning with your finances. Bye.
Bye.